Why do people still buy Tesla here in China? I know you guys, when you guys look at the cars, you look at the specs, it's a no-brainer. Of course you're choosing NIO. You got battery swap. The car is much more luxurious, whereas Tesla, they call it minimalistic, but it's kind of like there's nothing there, right? So I got this question asked a lot: why the hell would people still choose a Tesla when you have NIO as an option? And let's be honest, Tesla sells a lot of cars here in China. Just last week, they sold 14,000, whereas NIO only sold less than half of that, 6,000-ish. And why? Why is that the case? Because Teslas aren't exactly super cheap either. And you got Envo cars, much better features than the Tesla Envo L60, and at a cheaper price, and can do battery swap. It's a no-brainer as well, right? And then you got the Model YL, which is a six-seater, 3 rows. But then if you look at that car, it's kind of like, what? Right? Why would you even pick that? Right? So why is this the case? Well, it has to do with Chinese psychology, all right? And you've always heard the phrase, oh, it's made in China, right? And there's that stereotype that made in China represents bad quality. And we know for a fact NIO's quality is top notch. Some of the other Chinese automakers, their quality might not be top notch because, you got wheels falling off and weird sounds with the suspension, axle grinding, and all that kind of crazy stuff. And things not working, etc. Losing steering wheel assist. Yeah, those are from some of the top companies. You guys know which companies they're from. But with NIO, NIO has consistently gotten 5-star EO in-cab safety. And recently, the Firefly car got 5-star EO in-cab safety rating as well, which is unprecedented. Normally, small cars are really dangerous to drive in, but this kind of just flipped it all over, right? So this is like incredible achievement. NIO clearly does not represent low quality. But some people some people don't know that, all right? And this has to do with marketing. It has to do with just the culture here in general as well. For example, back 5 years ago, when I was getting this car, the NIO EC6, and the quality of this car, absolutely fantastic. 5 years, no issues whatsoever, all right? No issues. And I was getting this car. My father-in-law, very traditional person, he thought I was a complete idiot, all right? When you're buying an EV, you have to buy Tesla. That's what he said, all right? And yeah, he thought I'm an idiot, for buying a NIO, basically. And, he tried to convince me otherwise to buy Tesla. Tesla's so good. Why don't you buy Tesla? What's so good about the Tesla? They can't answer that question, right? So you have this stereotype that made in China is bad. Not just Americans with that stereotype. Here in China as well, they have that stereotype. Made in China is bad, okay? But you're asking, hey, Mr. P, how come BYD sells so many cars? Well, some people can accept that stereotype. They know that, oh, made in China probably represents its bad quality, but I need something that goes from A to B that's cheap. BYD does that, I'll get that. So that's why they sell a lot of cars. Get you from A to B, very cheap car, right? Saves on gas, they're hybrids, and then they also have EVs, right? It's replacing the Corolla, basically. But there's that stereotype, even here in China, that made in China equals bad. They want to buy, like, imported things, right? They think that imported things are much better. So things like BBA, right? Mercedes and all these guys, they think German cars are the best. American cars are the best. Chinese cars, there aren't any Chinese makers that are premium or luxurious. So there's that stigma still out there, all right? That's preventing a lot of people from buying a NIO or Chinese vehicles in general. So if they do want to buy a Chinese vehicle, they accept that the quality is bad and they want to buy a cheap car. All right? That's a problem, because when NIO comes along, NIO is an expensive car, right? So then that doesn't fit that metric. Like my father-in-law is like, "What, you're spending 380,000 RMB to buy a Chinese EV? Are you crazy?" That's part of the reason why he thinks I'm dumb. Like, if you're gonna buy a Chinese EV, you should spend less, right? Because it's probably supposed to be cheaper. That's the stereotype. And then with well, if you're gonna spend that money, you can buy Tesla. Why not buy Tesla? So there's still that problem going on. And then on top of that, you have the misconception with battery swap. There's still so many people that don't know about battery swap. Everybody knows about charging because you got to charge your phone. Everybody knows that a gasoline car needs to pump gas. But there's so few people that know about battery swap. Even now. Yeah. There are new energy vehicle buyers, people that buy BYD cars, people that buy Li Auto cars, people that buy Xpeng cars that don't know about battery swap. Yeah, there are a ton of them. Do you think the Xpeng sales rep is going to be like, "Hey, NIO's got battery swap"? Of course not. All right? Of course they're not going to say that. So, and the crazy part, people don't know that it's automated. They think, even the people that know, NIO you can change the battery, they think it's fucking manual, man. They think you gotta yank that shit out with your hand. You gotta be super muscular, yank that shit out, and then put a new battery in. They say, "Hey, it's too heavy. I can't do that. I don't want to do that, man." Because that is how you swap batteries for the e-bikes here in China. That's why when people think about battery swap, they think, "Oh, shit, I gotta change the battery myself." Nah, I don't want to do that. So there's that huge misconception going on that so many people don't know about NIO's automated battery swapping. You can't even manually swap it if you want to. Like, that shit, the battery is like 500 kilograms. How can you pick that shit up, right? So there's still so much misconception. It takes educational knowledge. It takes time to teach people about this. It's not something that people just know, all right? Charging and pumping gas, people know. But for swapping, people don't know about it. And those that do know swapping think it's manual. You see the problem here, right? So customers, people just simply don't know about it. I talk to some of my friends, they don't know battery swap. And it's not like if there's a swap station, hey, that's going to boost marketing. When you drive down the road, do you look at a building and think, "Oh, what is that building for?" Not really, right? So that's the same thing. You place the battery swap station, like, even if in a crowded area, people don't bat an eye. Like, "Oh, that's just a building." Yeah. Who gives it? Like, do I care what that building is for? Is it a restaurant? Is it a bakery shop? Is it a AC unit? Car wash? Don't really care, right? You don't bat an eye. So, it's not about placing the swap stations at a place where everybody can see. It's about common knowledge. People don't know battery swap being automated. And that is a problem. That is why you still need to really educate the public, tell everybody about it. You need people like movie stars and these kind of guys, and do battery swaps in movies, etc., to let people know about this. Because otherwise, it's just, people don't know what the hell it's all about. So the fact that it's not common knowledge really hurts, NIO. If people, everybody that bought a Tesla knew about NIO, knew about NIO's quality, and knew about battery swap, I am sure they would pick a NIO over a Tesla. 100%. All right? The problem is people don't know, right? And then, well, not 100%, because there will probably still be some who like Tesla's design or minimalism and that kind of stuff. But the biggest problem is still common knowledge, all right? When we get to a point where you talk to everybody on the street, you tell them what is battery swap. You ask the like a normal worker, what is battery swap, and they can answer that question. Then, that is NIO's time to rule the world, basically. But now you go to anyone, they know charging, they know cars need gasoline, they don't know about battery swap. Yeah. So that's the hurdle that if everybody knew about, NIO would sell so many cars. But people don't know about it. Yeah. So that's why people are buying Tesla over NIO. Yeah. They think foreign brands are better, and also they don't know about NIO's quality and battery swap. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.